He's not just in my eyes, the greatest hair artist in the world.
Fashionistas, you heard it here. We are with Lady Gaga's exclusive hairstylist and very best friend, like she had to say, Frederic Aspiras. Hi.
Hi.
I'm so glad you're here.
I am so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
We are thrilled. I am thrilled.
I am so happy to be. I'm so excited to meet you.
I'm a huge Gaga fan.
Oh.
So get ready for me to ask you 10,000 questions just from my personal desire to know more about her.
Ask away.
But what I love so much is that, like she said in that speech to you, you are friends and you've worked with her for 10 years. So we were just talking about this, it's impossible, I can't imagine to be that close with someone every day, working day in and day out, and not be friends.
Every day. Well, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of great times, and obviously we're blessed to travel the world together and experience like a lot of things and see a lot of places together. But with all the great good things that also comes, like it's like a brother and sister love too. Also, we have disagreements and we also have like tons of agreements. So, but every day is a blessing, and I am so privileged to be here.
I've done my deep dive back through my Lady Gaga over the last 10 years. So one thing, speaking of 10 years, it's been 10 years since you worked together. It's also the end of a decade.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of looking back at the decade and looking back at looks. So I wanted to do that with you and take sort of a look back at some of her biggest moments throughout the last decade. Let's take a look at 2013 at Jingle Ball. She was rocking some dreads. Tell me about this.
Art pop. Anything, you could be your own art pop. Basically just creating her own image left and right. This is one of my favorite looks actually, because I consider this kind of a little bit of an art piece. I hand dreaded every single one of those dreads and then coated them with paint, hand painted it in my apartment.
Wow.
And like it was like full of fumes, but it was, it was part of the art pop era, and it was part of this real art movement that we were doing, and her hair was my canvas, so I treated the hair as if I were painting a canvas.
Speaking of fashion and art, let's talk about the Met Gala, because the Met Gala is the perfect place to combine all of these things. So 2015, the theme was China Through the Looking Glass.
Oh, this Met Gala, yeah.
Yes, so tell us about this. This was styled by Brandon Maxwell. She's wearing a custom
This was Alexander Wang, styled by Met Gala, right? Alexander Wang, which was one of the, for Balenciaga, and this is such an immaculate piece of art. Her hair is blonde underneath this, by the way. I hand painted it black with clay, and then glued stones to her head, piece by piece.
Those stones are glued to her head?
On a net, glued it stone, and then Alexander provided the comb, and yeah, just to give her that polished, shiny, lacquered, Asian-influenced hair.
Stunning. It's so
that's
stunning.
How I created that. And then Sarah Tano,
slayed that makeup.
Slayed that makeup. And then the rest was history. It was such a fun event.
So let's look at the 2018 Grammys.
Well, that's kind of a change right
there.
The
corseted braid, this was a stunning look.
This was an ode to the theme of the whole night, which is this kind of Victorian masterpiece that Armani created for her. That when I saw this, I immediately had this idea a long time ago to do something that was a corset. She was talking about always being binded as women in corsets all the time. And then, so at the Victorian era, that was huge then. So I get inspired a lot by the era and by the clothing. And this is, so instead of having it on the clothes, the corset normally I put it in her hair.
And the thing that's so interesting about all of these looks is that she's wearing a version of her real hair and pieces, which is really interesting.
Right, that's a wig, by the way.
That's a wig.
Nobody knows that.
So see, that's the tea I want. That's amazing. So you cannot tell if that is a wig.
I finally said this, yeah, that's a wig.
Wow.
Yeah, that crazy.
Now, Star is Born time.
Yeah.
There were so many looks in the last year that you did. I don't even, you must be exhausted because she had a busy year. Oh, this was the Star is Born premiere in the UK, and this was absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous updo. Tell me about this.
Again, this is inspired by the dress. This is Alexander Mcqueen archive, so we had to pay homage to the legendary Alexander Mcqueen, and this hairstyle was inspired by Elizabethan hair, which is the hair is coiled in a chignon on the top of her head, and I've added a modern twist to it by adding a curtain bang to it to give it like a more sweet look. But yeah, again, I get inspired a lot by the clothing, like watching and being exposed to these couture clothes. It's just like fascinating. So to watch that, and I just looked up references and old hairstyling books from like this 16th century to see how they would do hair, and you would I coiled it on like a wooden spool, and there you go. That's how I made that. I know it's kind of like unconventional.
Like her hair here.
This is partially her hair.
Partially her hair.
Yeah.
All right, so it's a half and half situation.
Yeah, I won't tell you what part of it.
You don't have to tell us. You don't have to give away all your secrets. Do you want to talk about the Met Gala from this year? Because it was
we're still on the carpet
an epic
now.
event. Yes. Okay, so 2019 Met Gala.
So
this was when she did all these changes on the carpet, and there you are along for the ride for all of these changes. Tell me about this day.
So this was a performance of the House of Gaga. So the House of Gaga is everyone on that carpet right now, and a few members are not seen. But Brandon Maxwell created this masterpiece of the ever-changing doll. I don't know what he calls it, but I had to carry that pink wagon. So basically the story is that we got ready like down the street 4 blocks away, and we had to walk through this 4-block procession in that giant gown with all of us.
Just down the street?
Just down Fifth Avenue.
People must have been screaming at you.
Just a casual stroll on Fifth Avenue with like 20 people behind her in this giant pink gown and these umbrellas everywhere and my pink wagon at the back.
And you were dragging the wagon?
I was dragging that wagon because I had to put my hair product in it, my brush, and then so we ended up on the carpet, and it became this amazing performance, and to watch it every time, it's just like, wow.
Look at that. It was a performance. That was the most exciting moment I have seen on a Met Gala carpet ever.
From the hair, the makeup, the dresses, her performance, the phone, the little tiny hair bows. It's this like,
I loved the tiny hair bows.
The tiny hair bows.
Was that an homage to her big hair bow?
Yeah. You are a little monster.
I'm a little monster. I'm there.
Pause up for you.
I loved it. Loved it.
But look how fun it was. It was like, when you do the Met Gala and you have the theme is camp, you've got to show up.
Look at you showing up.
There. And speaking of camp, this is I'm giving you my best performance of the elaborate hairdresser.
So she went into her movie star era, like you said, when she was doing all her press for A Star Is Born. So I wanted to take a look at some of those moments. Since we're getting into award season now, let's take a look back at last award season. The Golden Globes. That's always the first big show of the award season. This was her last year at the Golden Globes. Tell me about the blue hair, because there was a lot of, it was polarizing. People either loved it or they hated it.
It viraled.
Yes.
It viraled, and that's kind of the point, isn't it?
Exactly. I love it. I love a risk. I hate when people are boring on the red carpet. I was so into it. Tell me how you achieved that.
Well, actually, to tell you the truth, it was like kind of like we had planned to do her hair this color the whole time. We saw this beautiful gown, and the color was just spectacular. So she's like, I just love that color, Freddie. Can we just do that on my hair? And just kind of like, because it's kind of our thing, we match everything.
Right.
And it's kind of her iconography, and I totally believed her. I said, yes, it is. But of course, this is her first time. This was her first carpet of her whole award season. So we didn't want to, mess this up for anybody. So of course the stylists were like, no, you can't do this. And of course us bad kids, rebels, we're like, okay, so.
You say no, so we will do it.
So we did it, and it turned out to be like it turned out to be a cover of People magazine, and it was
stunning.
Like, yeah, it was like so beautiful. And look at her. It just proves that she really can pull off anything.
She owns it. She owned this Valentino gown too.
And she owns the Valentino gown, of course. That is undeniable. Yeah.
All right, so SAG Awards, moving right through award season. She was back to platinum.
So with this look, it's simple, chic, and very movie starlet.
Beautiful. Yeah. Let's look at the Grammys right after this. Totally different, but I love this. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, this looks like her hair.
This is her hair.
This is her hair. Always a bit of a question mark, but no, I love this.
Well, clearly she's like grabbing onto it.
Yeah,
like,
she was feeling it.
But the soft, airy, frothy kind of rock star hair that is very, you know, on brand for, you know, Eddie Simon for Celine. And also she was going to perform, you know, Shallow in her, like, we saw it was like that little rocker way. And
yes.
She moved it around. Really soft, voluminous hair that I did. And it also was just freeing, you know?
Especially after all these very formal type of award shows. The Grammys is always a little more fun, more relaxed.
Right. And it was just freeing and like it was so fun. And I think a lot of people love this hair because it's something that she never really does a lot of.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then the moment of the year, the Oscars, 2019 Oscars. This was just stunning. I love how she looked.
Thank you. It's our ode to Audrey, I think, because mostly, and just keeping it very elegant, very simple. And,
I mean, and the casual necklace that she's
just
wearing.
A casual,
just
you know,
a diamond,
60,000.
Just a giant Tiffany diamond.
Well, it's the actual diamond that Audrey Hepburn wore. And it was the last person who wore it was Audrey, so, you know, it was kind of an homage to that. And you know, hopefully I did a good job.
Gorgeous. And last but not least, I just love this moment so much. The Venice Film Festival.
Oh, yeah.
Just another stunning moment of her year of being a total stunner movie star. And this was, she was also in Valentino here.
This was such a breathtaking moment. I mean, we were in Venice and it was super, super hot and humid. And then, but beautiful, like gorgeous. We arrived on a you know, little boat and it was like
stunning,
beautiful. And so we ended up with this gown, which was so beautiful on the runway, you know, and then she wore it. And then it started to rain and thunder.
Oh, gosh.
Like you would not believe. There's literally actually half of that flashes or were like the thunder lightning just like crashing behind her.
Just to add some drama.
Just to add some drama, you know, and then literally all those like droplets were just like, it was kind of like, you know, you can't pay for that. You gotta pay for that special effect, but it worked so well. And she wanted people wanted to wear, you know, an umbrella on her. We're like, nope. We're just gonna let it go.
She's a badass.
Yeah, she is such a badass. But,
well, thank you for this walk down memory lane.